Hello, boys and girls. We are going to begin our history lesson for today. So I would like for you to be in ready position. We are going to, like always, start history with our timeline pegs. So on the count of three, I would like for you to stand in ready position, nice and tall, and your arms to the side, and we will begin to review our timeline pegs. As you stand, I will stand with you. Let's stand. Okay. We are going to review our new timeline pegs, and here we go. The Persians first invaded Greece in 490 BC. The Battle of Marathon changed all of Europe's history. The Greek philosopher Socrates was critical of democracy. He criticized Athens' leaders, so they gave him the death penalty. He died by drinking hemlock in 399 BC. Alexander the Great ruled in 336 BC, the king of Macedonia when he was just 20. He conquered all of Greece and Egypt, then took Persia too. Named cities Alexandria, then died at 32. Good job. I tried to go a little bit slower on these timeline pegs because I think the last time that we reviewed them, I went a little too fast. But perhaps this time I went a little too slow on that last one, but that's okay. We will continue to practice. Practice makes permanent, doesn't it? Okay. So on Monday, we learned about life in Sparta. I would like for you to get your maps, the maps that we worked on Monday. I would like for you to take those out and have them ready. I would like for you to turn them over because I had you write some facts about life in Sparta. And we're just going to review. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I would like for you to answer those questions and tell the answer to your parent or whoever is there with you. Okay, let's see. What were the boys in Sparta supposed to do when they were 7 years old? I'll give you a few more seconds. What's the answer? The boys in Sparta were sent away to school, to a training camp, to learn how to fight. That's right. Okay, another question. Let's see. What were these Spartan boys expected to be when they grew up? Did you say soldiers or warriors? If you did say that, good job. Ding, ding, ding. You got the correct answers. Boys were supposed to become warriors. They were supposed to be strong and brave and mighty. Now, if Spartans were in pain, what were they not allowed to do? If you said they were not allowed to complain, you are right. Good. So those are a few things that we learned about life in Sparta. Today we're going to learn about the other large city in Greece during that time. So please turn your maps over. So you should be on the back side. Now we're going to turn it over to where the map is. Let's do that together. Okay. Your map should look like this. You have a brown box around Greece because that's the country that we are learning about. And you should have an orange circle around Sparta. That is the large city, one of the large cities in Greece during that time. And that is what we learned about on Monday. Today we're going to learn about another large city in Greece during that time. And let me see if you can find it on the map and tell me what the name of that city is. Did you find it? Is it this one? That says the Aegean Sea. It's the sea. Nope, it's not the city. But if we come down here, there it is. It says Athens. And that is the city we're going to be learning about today with the people in Athens. If you grab a red marker or a red colored pencil, I would like for you to circle the city of Athens in your red colored pencil or marker. Okay, so there we have it. We have the country of Greece, and in the country of Greece, those two cities were the largest cities. Sparta, which we learned about on Monday, and today, Athens. Now, while I tell you the story of the people of Athens, you can go ahead and color your map. You can color the land or the sea just to keep you busy coloring it while I tell you the story, or you could just listen to the story, and afterwards we have some more things to do on the map. I'm not going to read just like Monday, but we are on page 165 in our history book, and if you would like, after the video, you can go ahead and read. I would really like for you to go and read it, and maybe read it to your to an older sibling or to your parents or whoever is there with you so that you can practice your reading from a textbook. So you can read page 165 and stop at the top of page 168. Now, we're not going to read it all. I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to give you highlights like the way I did with life in Sparta. Okay, so life in Sparta, remember what they valued? Strength, bravery, warriors. And the reason for that is because they needed to fight for their king. Remember, every city in Greece at that time had their own king, their own rules. So the city of Sparta, they valued warriors because the king wanted them to go fight for him. And so they were obedient to their king. Now, life in Athens was a little bit different. Athenian people, they also valued strength, but a different kind of strength. Not a strength that you find in your body, in your muscles, but strength that you find in your mind. So they were really, they found it very, very important for people to be educated. And the reason for that is because Athens, they were a democracy city. A democracy, do you know what democracy is? Could you repeat that word? Democracy. And we have that word in our timeline peg. Do you remember? The Greek philosopher Socrates was critical of democracy. He criticized Athens' leaders, so they gave him the death penalty. He died by drinking hemlock in 399 BC. So democracy, that's a big word. Democracy is what people in Athens were used to. And what that means is that when they wanted to pass a new law, all the people in Athens were able to vote for it. If they really wanted that vote and they had a thumbs up, they would go to a council or a forum, a place where they gathered to vote for these laws. So everybody in Athens had, all the men in Athens had the ability to vote and say whether they liked the new law or they didn't. You know how in class sometimes we vote for our treats, whether we want donuts, or whether we want chocolate chip cookies, or whether we would like popsicles. So that is kind of like democracy because you all have the ability to choose and vote for what you think is best. And so Athens was a democracy, not like Sparta. Sparta just obeyed their king. Whatever their king said, Spartan people were just to proceed with what the king said. So that is one difference in Athens. They were a democracy. Now, because they were a democracy, they needed to know what the rules were, what the laws were, what they meant, and so that's why they valued education. So when their children were little, when their boys were little, they were also sent to school. But they weren't sent to school to fight and learn how to become soldiers. They were sent to school to learn about math, to learn about literature, to learn about poetry. They memorized a lot of things. They learned how to write. So they wanted to make sure that their children grew to understand the way that they handled the laws in their city. That way, when they were older and responsible, they were able to vote and they were able to stop leaders from telling them what to do, things that they didn't want to do. So that is life in Athens. Isn't it very different than Sparta? Sparta valued strength, bravery, warriors, and Athens valued education. They valued people having knowledge, being able to know a lot of things to help them make better votes when it came time to voting for different laws. Now, how about the girls? What of the girls in Athens? Well, the girls in Athens, they were not allowed to go to school. However, they were taught how to keep their house, how they were taught that, that when they were old enough to get married and have children, they needed to learn how to keep a well-kept house. So that is what the girls in Athens were busy learning when they were young. Now, Athenians, although they didn't believe in fighting, they didn't believe or they didn't value that a lot, they did value strength in the mind, but also strength in the body. So the way that they would do that to exercise their body, they would wrestle. They would wrestle with one another as a sport, and or they would also race each other on foot. So they would probably run against each other, and that's how they would keep themselves fit and in good shape. So those are the few different things between life in Sparta and life in Athens. Now, in your map, you can see that they were not too far from each other. Of course, in the map, it looks like they're very, very close. But in reality, they're not that far. They could get to one another in two ways. They can get to one another through the ocean. They could sail. The Athenian people can sail to Sparta, or if they didn't want to sail, the Spartans could actually march on land all the way up to Athens. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to trace the way that each one of these cities could get to one another. So let's trace the path from Athens to Sparta using blue, because that means they would have to sail in the sea to get to the next city. So we're going to start here in Athens. So get your blue marker. We're going to start here in Athens. And they sailed, if they wanted to go to Sparta, they sailed down, around, they probably went around this little island up, like so, or they could have just gone straight. So that is one path to get from Athens to Sparta. How about the other path? The other path, on land, if the Spartan people wanted to march their army over to Athens, they could march. They can't march on the water, can't they? But they can march on land, and they would go up here through this place up here and down to Athens. Okay, what if we put arrows? We'll go up like this. You don't have to write the arrows, but just so that we know which way they're walking. So Sparta could march their army right there and go right straight to Athens, and the Athenians, they could sail down to Sparta. So even though these two cities belonged to the same country and spoke the same language and worshiped many gods, but they both did things very differently. Spartan people and Athenians did things very, very different. Now, what I'd like for you to do, just the same way like we did with Spartan people, we wrote down 3 facts about Spartans. Now I'd like for you to write 3 facts about Athenian people. Okay, what did they value? They valued education. What's another important thing about Athenians? What is that big word that lets them vote? Democracy. Good job. And remember other things and write them down. That way we can review that next week. So boys and girls, thank you so much for listening. Very, very big. Um, uh, we have a little activity for you to do if you'd like. It's optional. You can ask your parent about that. You can build your own little puppets, Athenian people with their different type of clothes. So you can cut those out and color them so you can have some fun remembering all the different facts about Athenian people. All right, boys and girls, have a great day.